Your brain is not the primary author of your fear, but merely a late-arriving translator decoding a biological alarm that went off in your gut 30 seconds ago. While you believe you are consciously evaluating a threat, your enteric nervous system has already initiated a massive survival cascade before your prefrontal cortex even registers that anything is wrong. This means your conscious mind is operating on a massive time delay, living in a past constructed by visceral whispers. You are not a thinking machine that feels, but a feeling organism that eventually rationalizes what its viscera already decided. This is not a metaphorical concept, nor is it poetic license. This is a cold, physiological reality governed by the gut-brain axis, an intricate highway of neurological communication where 90% of the traffic travels upward from the gut to the skull, not the other way around. We have spent centuries worshipping the brain as the absolute monarch of our decisions, yet neuroscience is revealing that the brain is often the last to know. Understanding this somatic warning system is the key to unlocking the true nature of intuition, stress, and survival. It forces us to ask a terrifying question: who is really in control of your choices when the physical reaction is already complete before you even begin to think? Let us look beneath the surface at how this biological architecture functions. Nestled within the walls of your gastrointestinal tract is the enteric nervous system, an autonomous meshwork of over 100 million neurons. This system is so complex, so entirely capable of independent decision-making that researchers call it the second brain. It does not think in language, symbols, or abstract concepts. It thinks in raw chemistry, pressure, and electrical impulses. When a potential threat appears in your environment, this system reacts instantaneously. Long before the visual signals reach your conscious awareness, the vagus nerve acts as a superhighway, sending high-speed data directly to your amygdala and insular cortex. To prove this precognitive alarm system exists, neuroscientist Antonio Damasio and his colleagues conducted a landmark experiment in 1997. They designed what is now known as the Iowa gambling task. Participants were presented with 4 decks of cards, 2 of which offered high short-term rewards but devastating long-term losses, while the other 2 offered modest gains but steady long-term safety. The goal was to maximize profit. Here is where the magic and the terror of the somatic warning system revealed itself. The researchers measured the participants' skin conductance responses, which indicate physiological arousal and stress, while they made their choices. Long before the conscious mind could articulate that 2 of the decks were rigged, long before they could logically explain the pattern, their bodies already knew. After selecting only 10 cards from the dangerous decks, their somatic system generated a stress response every time their hand hovered over those cards. Yet, it took another 40 card selections before their cognitive brain could form a vague hunch that something was wrong. And it took a staggering 80 selections before they could actually explain the mathematical rule of the game. Let that sink in. Your visceral biology is 70 steps ahead of your conscious logic. The body registers the danger, calculates the probability of loss, and fires a warning shot through your nervous system while the intellect is still blindly playing the game. We are accustomed to thinking of decisions as logical calculations, but this study proves that logic is merely the cleanup crew. The heavy lifting of survival is done by a silent subterranean radar. What if the uneasy feeling you had during your last major decision was not a random spark of paranoia, but a highly accurate calculation that your brain was simply too slow to see? When you step into a tense room, negotiate a contract, or meet someone who makes your skin crawl, your enteric nervous system is conducting an invisible threat assessment. It is scanning micro-expressions, environmental shifts, vocal frequencies, and even chemical signals, translating them into a visceral language of tightness, heat, or a hollow sensation. This is where our modern lives go terribly wrong. Because we are trained to ignore everything but logical proof, we dismiss these somatic warnings as irrational anxiety. We force ourselves to stay in toxic partnerships, sign bad deals, or walk down paths that our viscera screamed to avoid, all because we cannot find a neat, logical argument to justify our unease. It is a form of cognitive self-sabotage. Consider the research of gastrointestinal specialist Imran Mayer, who in 2011 demonstrated that the gut microbiota and the enteric nervous system actively modulate emotional behavior and brain chemistry. In his clinical studies, changes in gut signaling directly altered the activity of the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala, changing how threats were processed. When the gut is in a state of alarm, it sends a continuous stream of distress signals upward, effectively hijacking the brain's cognitive resources. This means that if your somatic warning system is activated, your brain will actively search for a reason to feel afraid. It will look at your partner, your job, your finances, or your environment, and it will construct a logical narrative to justify the physiological panic it is receiving from below. The brain is a creative storyteller, not an objective reporter. If your gut is screaming, your brain will build a house of cards to explain why, even if it has to invent the enemies. Let us look at a stark contrast. Imagine two individuals facing a high-stakes business negotiation. The first person relies entirely on their analytical brain. They look at the spreadsheets, the metrics, and the legal terms, completely ignoring the subtle, cold knot tightening in their stomach. They sign the contract because the math adds up. Within 6 months, the partnership implodes due to hidden fraud that was invisible on paper but highly palpable in the behavior of the partners. The second person has calibrated their somatic intelligence. When they feel that same cold knot, they do not dismiss it. They do not panic either. Instead, they use that physical data as a signal to slow down, ask deeper questions, investigate the fine print, and delay the signing. They discover the discrepancy before the ink is dry. One relied on late-arriving cognitive data. The other used the instantaneous somatic warning system as a compass. To prevent your brain from misinterpreting these vital signals or, conversely, being entirely hijacked by false alarms, you must learn to actively work with this physiological database. Here are 3 specific research-based techniques designed to integrate your somatic warning system with your conscious mind. The first technique is interoceptive calibration. Interoception is your brain's ability to accurately perceive and interpret internal bodily signals, such as heart rate, breath depth, and gastrointestinal tension. Research has consistently shown that individuals with high interoceptive awareness make superior decisions under pressure. To practice this, you must establish a somatic baseline. Twice a day, in moments of relative calm, close your eyes and map your internal landscape. Focus your attention entirely on the tension in your stomach, the rhythm of your breathing, and the sensation of your pulse. Do not try to change anything. Simply catalog the physical state as raw data. By building this sensory map during calm periods, you train your brain to quickly recognize when a sudden, subtle shift occurs, allowing you to catch the somatic warning the exact millisecond it fires. The second technique is somatic decoupling. When a sudden threat or stressful event occurs, your gut will spike. Almost instantly, your prefrontal cortex will try to manufacture a narrative to explain this spike, often resulting in catastrophic thinking. To stop this loop, you must decouple the physical sensation from the mental story. When you feel that sudden knot of dread, immediately pause and state the physical sensation aloud or in your mind, using purely objective language. Say, "I am experiencing a sudden contraction in my lower abdomen and an elevated heart rate." Do not say, "I am ruined," or "this person is lying to me." By translating the raw physiological data into objective descriptions, you prevent the brain from spinning a runaway panic narrative, allowing your analytical mind to stay clear and examine the environment for the actual source of the warning. The third technique is vagal brake engagement. Sometimes our somatic warning system is overactive due to past trauma, chronic stress, or fatigue, firing false alarms that keep us in a constant state of hypervigilance. To test whether a somatic warning is an authentic, intuitive signal or a historical echo, you must engage the vagal brake. You can do this through a specific respiratory pattern known as the physiological sigh. Take 2 quick, deep inhalations through the nose, followed by a long, slow exhalation through the mouth. Repeat this 3 times. This specific sequence sends an immediate mechanical signal back down the vagus nerve, temporarily dampening the somatic alarm. If the feeling of dread completely vanishes after the sigh, it was likely a false alarm caused by systemic fatigue. If the visceral warning persists despite the physiological reset, you are dealing with genuine somatic data that requires your immediate conscious attention. These techniques are not about ignoring your intellect, but about creating a high-speed data link between your body and your mind. Once you understand this neurological reality, you can never look at yourself or the people around you in the same way again. You realize that we are all walking around as highly complex biological survival systems, reacting to subterranean currents that we barely understand. When someone lashes out in anger, retreats in sudden defensiveness, or makes an erratic decision, you are no longer seeing a character flaw or a logical stance. You are seeing a brain struggling to find words for a storm that started in their stomach 30 seconds ago. You will look at your own sudden hesitations not as weakness, not as fear, and not as lack of confidence, but as a profound, ancient intelligence trying to keep you alive. You are no longer a hostage to your anxieties because you now recognize them as raw, unpolished data waiting for your conscious mind to translate. You will navigate your relationships, your career, and your daily life with a quiet, unshakable authority, knowing that you possess a subterranean radar system that has been refined by millions of years of evolutionary history. Now that your eyes are open to this invisible biological architecture, you cannot return to the illusion of purely logical consciousness. The boundary between your mind and your body has dissolved. We have only begun to scratch the surface of how these biological systems govern the unseen dynamics of human behavior. In our next exploration, we will descend even deeper into a mechanism that dictates how your environment subtly reprograms your subconscious choices without a single word ever being spoken. Stay observant. The architecture of your mind is deeper than you think.